It's time for the Jim and Terry Show. It's the Jim and Terry Show, coming to you from the Hobbit Hole Studio in downtown Bobcaygeon. I'm Terry.
And I'm Jim, and I'm visiting Terry in Bobcaygeon in the Hobbit Hole Studio.
And he has not brought his Maple Leaf blankie, but we're hoping the Leafs make it to the playoffs this year.
Be nice to go one more into,
We're fair weather fans.
Yes.
We will follow a winner, but we won't follow a loser.
No, why would we?
Why would we? So does everybody follow the winners only, or do they follow losers
there's
too?
diehard fans that I just, I'm sick and tired after 50 years of wondering if they're ever going to get it back.
You're the longest fan I've ever.
Yeah.
I gave up a long time ago. I like the fair weather stuff. Give me, if the Leafs make it, I'll watch maybe the first round if they make it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, if they keep going, I'll keep watching.
Yes.
But, last year I was in Florida when the playoffs were on, and I kept phoning my brother Bobby until one point where he sort of indicated that I was interfering in the game.
He just wanted to watch
the game, Jim.
I'm going to suggest that we piggyback all these ideas and put them all together in a package that I'm going to call Red versus Blue, Good versus Evil. And notice I didn't say them in the sequence that would say, I think red is evil. I said red versus blue, good versus evil. Okay. To mix it up, shake it up, you can come to your own conclusions. All right, so Civil War. In the United States, Marjorie Taylor Greene is suggesting that red states withdraw from the Union.
Well, she's okay. This perfect union, this experiment seems to be unwinding, and there's people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who I personally believe likes the fame over common sense, likes the fame over her nation, likes to just be in the news. I think there's a lot of people like that. DeSantis is, what's George Santos? Santos is one. Couldn't care less. He's now got some more lies he's dishing out as he's trying to get reelected or something.
Not more.
Yeah. So I'm convinced there's people like that. They just, they're, I was going to say a-holes. I didn't mean that. What is it when you're sort of in the middle of everything? You're not religious. You're
agnostic?
Not agnostic, but it was like, I don't know. Anyways, some of them you got to think they just really don't have a conscience or anything. They just know what it means to be able to keep their name in the news. And you take someone like Taylor. I mean, even if she gets unelected now, she's got enough followers where she can do all kinds of speaking tours and do a podcast, write a book. She's going to be set for life. And I think that's the motivation behind a lot of people, whether it is even people on the side of righteousness, so to speak. I've got air quotes there, and they're just in it for the money. You got to be able to really have discernment, which was probably what this show should be called.
Maybe we'll put that in our tagline, discernment. How do you tell? Okay, we began with the notion of good versus evil, red versus blue. So let's go back to red versus blue and piggyback on who listens to Fox. 93% of the listening audience are conservatives. I think Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, perhaps others, like the word ultra MAGA.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Oh, I guess it just means to the extreme where you're going to absolutely exclude everything else in your wake. And that is a division which will lead to a possible civil war. And you were saying earlier that the Taylor woman wanted all red states to separate from the Federation. Become their own country? They're all spread all over the place, aren't they?
They are, and they're also, the statistic that interests me is what policies do red governors, red states, red judiciaries, red people, if you voted for them, what policies are you expecting from your government in a red state? And it seems to me the latest trend, and I'll go back to the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade. So first of all, the differentiation is we're not going to allow abortion under any circumstances.
Yeah, well, what can I say? I'm not really an abortion fan myself, but on the other hand, I've in my passiveness as an old man, as I get on here, sometimes I'm thinking the government does need to get their hands off a lot of things, and you need if you're not going to be biblical based, then you're not biblical based. You can't force it. I don't see anybody.
I don't think abortion's in the Bible. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No. But my point being, most people that are opposed to abortion is the sanctity of life, and that's all I meant by
Which
that.
is funny because they're also the ones who vote for the NRA and the
Yeah,
Second
well,
Amendment.
I know, but I'm not in it for an argument. My point being, I think it would be more wiser to put your efforts in controlling guns with people in the street with guns, like you would stop signs and speed limits. That goes into that category. The other category goes more into moral base.
So the
you
Reds-
can't force people to be your religion. That's not how the religion's supposed
You can
to
have
work.
open carry guns. I'm going to say Tennessee, but it might be another Midwestern, maybe Missouri. Open carry guns, 14 unsupervised, but you're going to be forced to carry your child at 14.
What?
It's in the policies of nonsense. Your NRA, I know you say pro-life and is pro-all life, and I'm pointing out the inconsistencies of a pro-life policy when you're going to force a girl to carry a baby, perhaps a victim of rape. We don't know. But under no circumstances, most of the red states will have no exceptions to that abortion ban. But it's okay for a 14-year-old unsupervised to carry open carry handgun.
Yeah, and these things are hard to just listen without responding, okay? Like, I don't like going to the extremes of a 14-year-old girl having a baby. This is one of the reasons I don't like the idea of it being a law.
Yeah.
Being more of a moral decision.
Right.
But when you come down to something like guns, I have a problem with that because, again, for me, that falls under the speed limit signs. Thou shalt not steal. You can't just go in and steal. You can't carry a gun. I mean, why do you need a gun? If everybody doesn't have guns, you can really find out who has a gun, and then you can phone the police, say he has a gun. So that's where my mind's at,
Right.
anyways.
So on the red state versus blue state, good versus bad, you can take a look at policies. And my question is, what kind of policies do red states represent? And one of them that Marjorie Taylor Greene mentioned was that she would not allow, if you moved because of your business from a blue state to a red state, you could not vote for 5 years. And I'm thinking, what about your mobility rights? You're part of America, are you not?
She's trying to make a division.
Yeah.
And some people will jump on her wagon and say, yeah, she's trying to divide. That's what she's trying to do, because she's going to have an audience for that. And again, I don't trust it's moral in any way, shape, or form. I think it's all about following the money. And she wants that mansion on the water on the Pacific or the Atlantic. She wants that mansion. She wants the private jet. That's probably what she wants. So she's going to say things that she knows her group want to hear.
Right.
Some of those things you can say until the cows come home, and it's not going to happen in a real world. Now, crap can happen and worlds fall apart. But you can say anything you want to say if it can't happen. And then you can go to a podium anywhere.
Well, they will. CPAC is coming up. I can show you the Rogues Gallery of speakers for the CPAC, which is the Conservative Political Action Committee. The speakers are all the ne'er-do-wells of the GOP. All the people who voted to overturn the election are now speakers in the GOP.
It's all about the money, Terry.
It's all
about the money.
Speaking of money, let's talk about the policies, because red versus blue is a policy decision as well. And policies cost money. You either are willing to raise taxes, pay for stuff, or you want to lower taxes and drop stuff that's in the public interest. And I sent you an article about the privatizing of healthcare in Alberta and Ontario, and whether that's something that we want to see or not. And it relates to this red state, blue state, because most of the red states, I'm going to say 8 out of 10, are Republican in terms of the poorest states in the Union. So they are the ones who take money, transfer payments, policy benefits. They're the ones who also, strangely, voted completely. Not one GOP voted in favor of Medicaid, Medicare, and pension. So I think they call it something else, their security, Social Security. But when that whole group is not only poor, but also not wanting to help anybody, I think there is grounds for a big kerfuffle.
Well, the kerfuffle, I think, is coming. I am a naysayer. I don't see...
In your lifetime, you're going to see something?
Oh, I think we're going to see horrendous things even in my lifetime. Because I believe a lot of the information people are getting are from trolls. I think it's... and from those evil people we talked about on the show before that will mail you medication knowing you're one of the 6 possible people out of the 10 are going to die, and they don't care. They just got their money. That's all they want. So that's what we're living in. And now they all got voices. They all got advertised. They all got ways to hide and how to just shift things over and move away. So yeah, I think the world as we know it's going to be horribly changed.
Do you think there will be a violent separation if there is going to be a separation, or is it a state of the union? Is there a union?
In the States?
Yeah.
It'll be ridiculously violent, I think. But I'm not a prophet. I don't know.
Interesting.
I know the prophet that thinks that everything's going to be fine and dandy. I don't see where she gets that, but she says she gets it from God. So.
This is let's go to the good versus evil. Maybe next podcast. For now, it was red versus blue. Maybe we'll give it a quality assignment in terms of value of good versus evil. Next podcast, something spiritual from the Jim and Terry Show. Bye bye for now.